Well, welcome to the
Uh,
series.
Thank you so much. I'm
And
also going to pull up my slides too, John. So
that's
can you
that's
can you
great,
go
Mitch.
on?
Yep, we sure can. So I want to introduce you guys to Mitch Gurick. Mitch has been working at Google for 5 years, and he's been in the people operations business while he's been there. He's going to talk about where he went to school, but I want you to know that when he was in school, he was president of the Graduate School Senate. He was also the student rep to the Board of Trustees. And Mitch has got a lot to offer. He's got a lot of information, and I'd like everyone to please give him your attention, welcome him with an Eastern welcome. Mitch, it's all yours.
Perfect. Thank you so much, John, for the introduction. And hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Today, this is my virtual spotlight. I am a proud Eastern Illinois graduate from 2015. So not too long ago, I was back at Eastern and in Old Main and walking around the campus. And I just have so many fond memories at Eastern. So I'm happy to be back here to share my love of Eastern with you, and then also talk through how, some of my journey and how I got here. So just a fun fact, I am currently pursuing a PhD while working full-time from Pepperdine University. And Google was actually my first job upon graduation. So I've been there ever since. I've really grown up at Google. Just as I spent most of my formative years at Eastern, I feel that I've spent my early career at Google growing up there as well. So I'm, again, so glad to be here. And it's just such a pleasure. I decided to change the agenda format slightly. I figure talk a little bit about myself first, and then I'll get into some of the great things that we have going on at Google and ways that you can all get involved and get ramped up with Google as well. So just going through my journey, I am from the suburbs of Chicago. I am born and raised in the suburbs. I attended Hinsdale Central High School, so I grew up in the southwest suburbs. To be honest, going through my high school journey until my senior year, I did not really take school that seriously. I wasn't that involved. I was kind of just like an average student. I, got like okay grades. I wasn't really, that like invested in school, and I like kind of slacked off a lot. But I decided one day, my senior year, to run for student body president. And I told my parents, and my mom was like, go for it. So I was like, I'm probably not going to win. I was running against all these people. But then I decided to just try for it. I like campaigned, and then I ended up getting elected. And then I think for me, something really shifted where I realized that I couldn't be a leader if I was getting not great grades, if I was like kind of acting off as a student, if I was not taking things seriously. So my senior year of high school, I really decided, okay, I'm going to turn things around and really be focused and be intentional about how I'm showing up to things, how I act as a person, how I build connections, how I network with people. So then that really fueled my experience at Eastern, where I remember my high school guidance counselor saying, when I was evaluating schools to go to, like, I was looking at, U of I, and my dad went to U of I, my sister went to U of I, and my mom went to Illinois State. And then Eastern had the program that I really wanted, which was business education. So I studied like basically how to become a high school business teacher, and then learned about business and really practical things in this program. And I also really wanted to be a teacher. I have a really deep admiration for teaching, and something that I'm super passionate about. So Eastern had the program, and I visited the campus and I loved it. And my high school counselor said, you can be a big fish in a small pond at Eastern. Like you can pave the way for your future at a school like Eastern, because you can just excel there. And so I was like, okay. So I went to see Eastern. It was an amazing school. I met with a couple of the professors that I would have, and I really like loved them as well. And so I decided to go to Eastern. And then really my involvement in extracurricular activities at Eastern um, truly helped me feel connected to the campus and community life. So as a freshman, I joined student government. I was a senator in student government, and then I eventually worked my way up to like the like leadership board. So I was in student government for all of 4 years at Eastern, and then I also joined a fraternity, and then I also joined many professional organizations that were related to my major that were also outside of Eastern. And then eventually throughout my undergraduate studies, I ended up presenting at some of the conferences that they have. I would take time to travel to the conferences. And so I would say that my involvement and experience as a campus leader helped to get internships at really recognizable companies. So I was one of the youngest interns that they had at Enterprise in their management trainee internship program after my freshman year of college. And I learned, how to run a business, how to like how all the facets of a rental car agency work. You basically, I was washing cars, I was picking up customers from their homes, I was dealing with learning like how to run the business, all the costs, all of the things associated with it. And it was a tremendous experience, and it was a lot of hard work. And I learned that like so many things practically that like on the job that I was like, okay, I could take these things back to the classroom. I could see in things that I'm learning at school at Eastern and how they are applied to a professional setting and how awesome that is. Then I coincidentally met John at a career fair for State Farm, and he took a chance on hiring me as going into the summer after my sophomore year at Eastern. I had an awesome experience at State Farm. My manager actually was a EIU alum who had been with the company for over 25 years, and I just had a tremendous experience at State Farm. I felt it was like my first real like corporate setting and environment. And State Farm is just an amazing company. They have one of the best ranked internship programs in the like just overall for any company. And so the people that I connected with and just peers that I met from other universities, both at Eastern as well as like a bunch of other schools all over, and skills that I was able to learn and develop there as I was a business analyst intern, was really, again, more practical experiences and just greater experiences. And then the following summer um, applied for a internship at JP Morgan, and I thought like, there's no way that I will get a job at JP Morgan because, I'm an EIU grad, I'm not studying finance, I don't even like banking and finance. But they had a really, really good like corporate development program. And so it was really, really highly sought after program. So I ultimately wanted to be, I feel like, in Chicago, closer to where my family is. And so I ended up getting the opportunity there, and I worked there as part of their corporate development program. And then I went back to Eastern, and then I actually applied for the Apple Campus Rep program, which was an opportunity for me to represent Apple at Eastern. And so I got to go to Cupertino, where Apple's headquartered, and we had a training there on site. And I was just totally fascinated by the technology industry and the innovations and how Apple is shaping the world. And so I really want to work in an innovative company. And so I was like, okay, I was like, the only place I really want to work would be like at Google. And so I ended up applying for some roles there, and I did get hired. And so then I moved to San Francisco, or to the Bay Area. I lived in Palo Alto actually when I first moved to California. I didn't know anyone really. I really took a chance to like step outside of my comfort zone fully and just get to know people. And it was a really, really awesome opportunity, and Google is a tremendous company. And so I met a ton of friends, and I've had a really, really awesome experience there. And then concurrently, while working, I found myself like working so much that I needed more of an outlet to like focus on myself. And so then I decided to enroll in a master's program part-time at the University of San Francisco. So I did that and I graduated recently. And then my manager has been really encouraging me to go back to school for my PhD. And it's really something that I've wanted to do. Like I said, I have really had this affinity for and love for teaching and mentoring. And so I really would love to be a university professor one day. And so I believe getting a PhD would help. But just some things that I wish I would have known if I was a freshman looking back on my Eastern experience, or, you know, if it's your first year of grad school at Eastern, is that it's important to not just be a face in the crowd. You can do things to stand out. And I know with things being virtual, it's a little bit more difficult, and I'm finding the difficulties there with my own schooling right now. But there are things that you can do to connect with people, reach out to people, and not be a face in the crowd, offer solutions and get involved in coming up with meaningful, actionable things that could actually change, not just complaining about the environment, but actually doing things to change the status quo. It can be done, and it helps you to stand out and not be just a face in the crowd. And like I said, I've mentioned this, not being a face in the crowd. And the other thing is using your resources. So all of you are here at this session today, which is amazing. Continue to capitalize on all of the resources that you have available to you as a student at Eastern. There's career services. There are the vast majority of opportunities to get involved as a student in a registered student organization. It's a great way to showcase leadership, to make friends, to build connections. And also, you're not alone in this too. You're like faculty, professors, the staff at Eastern, everyone is really here rooting for your success and wants to see you be successful. And so they're here for you. And so you have to use them though. You have to reach out to them. You have to build the connections with them, and you have to network with them. And it will help eventually get to where you want to go, especially if you have some clear direction and like thoughts on that. So I'll pause here briefly before we shift, like if people have questions about my experience and background, just before we get into talking about Google and some of the opportunities there.
Does anyone have any questions for Mitch about his past, his career, while he was at Eastern? If you do, please just unmute yourself and ask.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I do have a quick question. You were saying for all these internships, did you have them while you were currently a student at EIU, or was it in or around?
Yeah, so they were all while I was a student at Eastern, and so I attended the career fair right away when I joined Eastern, and so that's how I met John, through the EIU career fair, and same thing with Enterprise. Bob Burdell, who is also speaking as part of this virtual career series. I met both of them through the EIU career fair while I was a student, and the internships were between the summers, between semesters. So it was while I was an EIU student. All of the things that I did were as an EIU student.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question. Okay, cool. So let's move on here. So we're going to go through like my journey. Like I wanted to go through more of a journey about kind of like working at Google, what it means to work at Google. And I just want to start by saying that like everyone has their own journey and story, and everyone brings together different perspectives and backgrounds. And we think about that at Google as just the way of how we all work together to solve problems. We need the diversity in perspective. We need the diversity in thought. And really working at Google is having impact with purpose. And inclusivity is at the core of what we do at Google, and ensuring that we're building products that work for everyone is really core to our company's culture. And so we're going to go through some key themes here, which is how Googlers have meaningful impact, how we all work together, and how we're committed to the future. And we default to open, and then how we show up. So before we get into that, I am going to do a little bit of trivia and culture. So please, I think we can use the chat feature in Zoom. So if you can just chat your responses, curious to see people's thoughts here. First one is, what is Google's mission? If you know, just post it in the chat in Zoom. I think I can see it somehow. Okay, so we got one. To provide information, okay. Any other thoughts? To provide meaningful services and products to bring people together. Good, these are awesome thoughts. So our mission statement is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. So totally in line with what everyone's thinking, it's great. So with that, I'm actually gonna play a quick video. I'm hoping that you could hear the sound, so give me 1 second.
We can't hear it.
Yeah, okay. Let me see. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let me see. All right, if not, I may have to send the video after because I'm not sure how to play it on Zoom.
Are
Okay.
you sharing computer audio?
Oh, share computer sound. Okay, let's try that.
So let's go into the office.
Here we go.
Yay, okay, great, thank you.
This is our garage. Basically, nobody's in here. Hi.
Hi. I mean, we were all a bunch of kids. We were, we were all somewhat idealistic in our own way.
I did not inhale.
We wanted to do things that made a difference in the world and that, that mattered, right? That were interesting and hard. We didn't start out as a conventional company, and we never followed a normal path.
What is our mission? Basically, we want to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful.
On the one hand, it was a perfect description of what we were trying to accomplish in search. And yet, it was also so broad as to leave the door open for all of the many, many directions we wanted to go in the future.
We set out to do something really useful for people, and all other things began to follow.
All right, so here we are, one of the elephants.
I don't think any of us possibly could have seen where this story was going to go.
It may sound nuts, but it's often easier to make progress on mega ambitious goals than on less risky projects. Few people are crazy enough to try, and those are usually the ones you want to work with.
What if distance wasn't a barrier to exploring our world?
Can we bring the internet to the 5 billion people who don't have it today?
What if everyone in the world could speak every language?
What if everyone could make a living doing what they love?
Everybody ready? Up, step, down, go.
Almost everything we do is an experiment in some way, shape, or form. Everything has some aspect of the unknown.
That didn't work at all, man.
You're probably going to fail a few times before you succeed.
And now the car is in control.
Google car in front of us.
We always tend to ask the question, how can we make it better? So there's always this sense of optimism and curiosity that you can make a difference.
If our ambition is to create products that have planetary impact, it's not good enough to just solve it for some people. You have to solve it for absolutely everyone.
The unifying theme, if there is one, is seeing something that doesn't work that well and trying to use technology to make it better.
Wow, I heard it. That is fantastic.
We want to get deeper into the problems that really matter to people and to the world.
Just because we've been successful in the past doesn't mean we're preordained to succeed in the future. That's why we need to keep on asking the big questions and work really hard to find the best answers.
So let me just switch back the sound now. Okay, can you guys hear me? Perfect. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to show you that is essentially to highlight how Googlers have meaningful impact, and our culture is really based on a strong connection to the mission and our deep passions and desires to contribute to it. Every employee has a voice, and we're all empowered to do the right thing. And I've been personally just impressed by the excellence and creativity and the people that I'm surrounded by each day that I come to work. I learn something new, both about myself and about some concept in the business or in the community. And so it's a truly magical place to work. And we're tackling some of the largest issues as a company that face the world. And so it's just truly an exciting place to be. I see some chats coming in here. Let me see. Oh, great. Okay. So next question, please insert it in the chat. How many employees does Google have? How many full-time employees? Take a guess if you don't know. Okay, 3.5 billion, 30,000, a million. Okay, interestingly enough, Amazon has 1 million employees, which Melody 50,000. Good. Okay, there's actually 125,000 employees that sit in 100 offices around the world, and I found this interesting statistic is that when I joined the company 5 years ago, we had 45,000 employees, and so the company has almost like doubled, and then not quadrupled, but like it's grown by like 60%, which is crazy. So it's grown just tremendously since I've been there, and it's been amazing to be part of the people operations team in HR to just see the growth in employees and our people processes and how they've evolved as well. So just some stats on how we work. We all work together and not the same. And I would say even more so, we've been challenged in new ways of working with all of our employees being remote until June of next year. And so some of the things that we pride ourselves on, which is having all these amazing perks in the office, having massages on site, getting your hair cut on site, having your laundry taken care of, and all these things, has really challenged our employees in a new way, and myself included. I would, you just show up at the office and everything is pretty much taken care of for you. Now, people are having to take care of things, and so I'm like having to learn how to be an adult now. But it's that, our perks and benefits ensure that people are happy and healthy and they're heard. We offer a tremendous amount of flexibility. We're one of the leading companies right now on providing carers leave, which is, essentially if Googlers have children that they're caring for at home, a lot of people have taken on like childcare responsibilities. They have young kids. We're offering very progressive leave coverage options for them, where they're still getting paid and their roles are protected. We offer just great opportunities for inclusion. We try to make sure that we're hiring a diverse workforce to the extent that we can. And we also allow dogs in our campuses, which is also kind of fun. Okay, where was Google's first office? Back to the chat. Where do you think the first office was? In a garage somewhere in California, Seattle. Okay, good. So yes, you are correct. The garage is correct. So it was at a house in Menlo Park, California, and it belonged to Susan Wojcicki, who was an IBM engineer at the time. She is now the CEO of YouTube, our YouTube business. And so she rented out her garage because she wanted extra money. So it's really, it's kind of a small world. She was employee 16 at Google. So a lot of the story goes that she saw the creativity and, ingenuity that was happening and really wanted to be part of it. And so she ended up joining the company as employee 16. So it's kind of cool. And eventually has risen to, the head of our YouTube business. So we're also committed to our employees' futures and your futures. We want Googlers to always continue learning and growing. We offer 20% projects, which is essentially a way for our employees to explore their passions outside of their core roles. So you could take on a 20% project, doing something with Google for Education, going to university campuses and recruiting students. You can develop an idea that you've been thinking about with some of Google's resources. So and some of our best ideas have been born out of 20% projects as well. And so we encourage this creativity and opportunity for people to really explore things outside of what they're doing day to day, because we feel that we're hiring some of the best and brightest, and they have so much to bring that we want to give them the time and space to do so. We also offer explorerships, which are opportunities for Googlers to spend a period of 3 to 6 months outside of their home work location. So in my case, it would be me working from another location for 3 to 6 months, somewhere outside of the country, in another office, maybe within the country. But basically the company will pay for everything. You can go explore other cultures, you're ingrained in other offices, you learn about local laws, local business operations. And so it's really an opportunity for employees to get ingrained in life outside of their home office, to just develop perspective and build relationships across cultural and geographic boundaries. We also offer a ton of grow classes. So we have this platform where, Googlers actually can teach classes with 2 other Googlers. So if, someone's really good at surfing, an employee might teach another group of employees how to surf. And so there's all these classes that you can take to develop your skills, and things as basic as, email writing, to things as advanced as negotiation with executive audiences. There's a ton of different classes and variety. And we also offer education reimbursement as well. So Google will help sponsor a portion of going back to school, and certainly support the development of employees through going back to school as well. Okay, in the chat, what was Google's first product? Take a guess. Search engine, routers, SEO, SEM services. Okay, Michael, it is search. That is it's not a trick question. That is really our bread and butter as a company. That is our first product. And it's really interesting. The world's second largest search engine is YouTube, actually. So it's crazy. And really, all of our products were built around making it easy for people to find the information they need and get things done. And we also have launched products that support businesses to help them grow. And we're working to make the web faster, simpler, safer, and we're continuing to come up with solutions that we haven't even imagined yet. So it's really, really cool that this is where we started. Okay. So some other things that we've also started and been involved in. Android is the #1 operating system for smartphones that is used. We also have Gmail, AdSense, AdWords, which is our advertising business, which is our largest, revenue generating business for the company. We have Google Assistant, Maps, Chrome, YouTube, Drive. So these are just some of the things that we've developed in spirit of our mission to make the world's information universally accessible and useful for all, and to organize it. So we default to open, and so we spread innovation through our products and through users. And we also echo the same type of openness internally as well. So our top executives come together on a weekly basis and share with the entire company what's happening and information about our business, and making sure that we're keeping employees updated. People can ask questions to our senior leadership team on our products, on our services. And it's really, really just an open culture that anyone can feel empowered to have a conversation with anyone in the company, at any level. If they want to share an idea or ask a question, anything is possible. When we're open and when we're honest as a company with both our users as well as internally amongst our employee population. Okay, next question. What is Google's month of service called? Post your thoughts in the chats. Googlers for good. Okay, good guess. Any other guesses? Okay, it's Google Serve. So it was very close, Ben. Google Serve. So each year we give back to the communities that we live and we work in. We take on really ambitious projects. We take on really ambitious projects with painting schools. I've actually been part of opportunities where you clean a sustainable garden up in the community that's used by members of the community to get food. I have also helped at shelters and places where you're packaging canned goods, but really we give back to the community that we serve. We've also stood up and we're trying to pave the way during this COVID crisis in a response plan and making our plans publicly available for other companies to also use. I think like a lot of companies, Google was the pandemic struck us a lot by surprise, and it did for other companies as well. And so we've been really transparent with how we are handling our return to work process in hopes that we pave the way and set the way for other companies. Google also does like a one-to-one matching for donations. If we make donations to groups, the company will match them. And same thing with service hours. Any hours that we contribute, that Google actually contributes what our wages are hourly. They contribute the time that we contributed to the cause as a donation to the organization, so that our time is actually paid for through Google, which is actually kind of a cool thing too that I don't think other companies do. So fostering diversity and inclusion. As I mentioned, having a diverse workforce increases the performance, the earnings, the innovation, and ultimately leads to better products. If we are being representative in the products that we create and that we build, and ensuring that they are for everyone, that can be used for everyone, we need to have a workforce that ultimately represents everyone as well. And so we work really hard to hire a diverse workforce. We also offer employee resource groups. So we have the Black Googlers Network, we have Pride, we have Greyglers, we have groups where they're affinity groups for employees that they can engage with one another and also have a community, put on events, network. And there's really something for everyone everywhere. And somewhere within Google as well. So it's really, really awesome where people can really feel at home, and it's a really inclusive workplace. Okay, so just to talk about some of the opportunities for students. So I think this is a really interesting part of the presentation that we're gonna go into. So we offer many opportunities for undergraduate and graduate students. So the first one is the Bold Immersion Program, which is essentially an opportunity for you as a student to submit an idea or an innovation or project through an application, and then you actually get invited to come on site to Google and learn about our products and services. Obviously right now with the pandemic, it's, you know, it would be virtual, but I've included the link here. You could also just search Bold Immersion Program. You can see when the application dates are and things like that. We also offer a Bold Internship Program, which is for juniors students. So juniors, like rising seniors. I've had the opportunity of managing 2 Bold interns. Essentially, these are interns who join teams across the company in sales, marketing, and people operations to identify challenges, collaborate, and build solutions. I would say that these roles are lead into full-time opportunities as well if you excel in the program. And so it's a great opportunity. It's also focused on building our underrepresented talent pipeline as well. So if you have an interest, you can search when the applications are and submit your resume for this, but we certainly encourage everyone to apply. Veterans, people with disabilities, everyone is encouraged to apply. So just to talk at a high level through the interview process, it's a quite simple process actually. You do Google Hangout interviews, a hiring committee reviews the feedback, and then you move into the offer stage. I will say that the hardest barrier is getting an interview. And so I'm going to talk later in the presentation about just some resume tips that I have, kind of things that we look for in resumes that I think will be helpful in just ensuring that your application stands out. So some of our entry-level roles, we have an associate product marketing manager roles. It's a 2-year program where you come in as a new grad, typically for marketing majors, but it's not limited to marketing majors. We hire people with all backgrounds and all majors, but you're really collaborating cross-functionally to solve our toughest challenge in terms of our strategic direction and marketing for our products. We also have a finance rotation program. I know Eastern's finance program in the School of Business is particularly awesome, and I know leads to just great opportunities at our large companies. So the finance program, again, this is a 6-month rotation. You work across accounting and finance operations teams, and you have an opportunity to rotate among different teams to eventually figure out which part of the finance business that you'd want to land in. And so it's a 2-year rotational program. We also have Google Marketing Solutions. These are folks who are working with customers more day to day on figuring out marketing solutions to meet their needs. And so again, you're working with small and medium-sized businesses to come up with marketing solutions. We also offer in our people operations function, staffing a services associate. So these are individuals who are working directly with candidates. They're really serving as the face of Google to external candidates. And as you saw in the preceding slides, we hire a ton of candidates every year. I think we're hiring like 15,000 people this year. So we need a really strong staffing team to support all the operations and be the face of the company and scheduling interviews and the whole process. So these are really pivotal folks for that. We also have a Google Cloud Sales Academy, which offers a 90-day period of intense classroom training and one-on-one mentorship. This anyone can do. It's just develop skills, and you learn about our G Suite, our offering of cloud products and the cloud team. And so there's so many ways that you can make an impact at Google as a student to learn. We also have technical opportunities I didn't speak to. We have, like students with CS backgrounds. We offer some technical internship programs as well. And I'm not, this is the kind of high level full-time interview process. Speaking to my own interview process, this is about what I experienced. I was originally applying for an entry-level role in sales, and then my recruiter was like, and I had done the on-site interviews, and my recruiter said, given your background, we think you'd be a better fit for a role in people operations. And I had no idea about people operations. I had no idea. No one in my family works in HR. And so I ended up having to restart the whole interview process. So I had phone interviews, I had on-site interviews. So I ended up, I think, having 10 or 15 interviews, I think, by the time I ended up getting an offer. And so it does take quite some time. But like I said, I do think the hardest part, of course, is getting the interview, getting in front of the right people, making sure that your application stands out. We also have an online marketing challenge, which is a really cool thing. You can submit a marketing campaign, and actually the internship that I managed this summer, he had a team that won this marketing challenge. So it's also a way to, as a student, if you come up with a real world online marketing campaign, you can submit it, and then we'll give you we'll give a nonprofit a $10,000 budget to use, if your idea gets selected. It's a really kind of a cool thing. It brings together academic and then students who partner with nonprofits to support their growth as well. So it's really a cool program. So in terms of what we look for in candidates, we really want to understand how a candidate thinks. And this is beyond, being able to answer a question about something that you've maybe learned in a class. If you're asked, how do you estimate the number of small businesses in Charleston, Illinois, we don't want you just to say, okay, there's 30, right? We want you to break down the process for how you would evaluate how many small businesses there are in Charleston. So maybe you would look at categorizing them by type. Maybe you would look at by size, number of employees. Maybe you would look at it by how do you define what a small business is. All of these things are dependencies that need to be solved for before you can answer the question, estimate the number of small businesses. So we want to see your thought process. We want to see how you approach problems with an eye toward solutioning and toward getting closer to identifying what the problem is and developing actionable solutions. We also want to see leadership skills. And again, as students, there are so many ways to gain leadership skills through getting involved on campus, through getting good grades in your classes and standing out with your university faculty. That demonstrates leadership. Being involved in service organizations, being involved in professional organizations related to your majors. All of these things lead to you developing your leadership skills. Building role-related knowledge. So it's important that you need, building your brand around and role-related knowledge around the opportunities that you want in the future is something that's certainly necessary, especially in today's employment environment. Companies want to see that your past and prior experiences translate to the opportunity that you're applying for tomorrow. So it's not that like maybe you're studying, you know, business administration, you know, what role related knowledge do you have and have you gained through your studies in business administration that relate to your future career that you want to have? And so being able to call out those things through your resume, through other experiences is certainly important. And then we have this concept of Googliness that we talk about, which is essentially you showing up and instead of like being told what to do, you just do it. Like you start to just put ideas into motion. You are the change agent. You are a leader. You're inclusive. You're collaborating with others to solve problems. You're approaching problems that in a way that maybe you don't know all the answers, and that you're relying on other people to help and to collaborate with you to solve problems and to build a network of people to work together to like reach a common goal. And so being Googly is being scrappy and coming up with solutions and actioning. And that we like truly we're looking for this, like people just to get down, like roll up your sleeves and just like start doing things, because like that's really what we want. Okay, tips for your resume, and then I'll open it up for questions in the last 10 minutes. So in your resume, you really want to demonstrate and highlight your impact. So what we see a lot for candidates is, and what I see in resumes a lot is, it says, okay, I train and work with other people to do XYZ project. Speaking beyond just your accomplishment, what was the impact that you had as it relates to this particular position? If you were not in this role, like what would not have gotten done? Like what was your impact, and what was the accomplishment's impact? And being able to highlight that in a way, some quantifiable way, ideally, if you can, is really important. Speaking to your brand, so I talked about this a little bit. Again, you want to ensure that you're building a brand that's commensurate with the individual that you want to be professionally. So my dad has told me this, and it's really resonated with me always, is that if someone were videotaping your interaction in public or at a bar or at a party, if they're videotaping you and someone posted it on like the New York Times front page, would this be how you'd want people to remember you for the rest of your life? I mean, if if you're at a bar doing something stupid, probably not. But so you need to be conscious of how you are branding yourself, how you're putting yourself out there, and speaking to it in a way that resonates across all of your social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of these platforms, because companies are looking at these things when you're applying for jobs. Like frankly, scanning the web, looking at the web, and they want to see parallels between you showing up and who you are as a person. It tells your social media presence tells a lot about who you are. And again, there's this idea of transferable skills. So things that you can do while you're studying to differentiate yourself from other people who might be applying for it, the opportunities. So whether it be doing maybe a certificate on the side, or picking up a minor in something, or doing a study abroad opportunity where you're learning about other cultures and experiences. These are all things that you can showcase transferable skills through different experiences that you may have had. And then of course, highlighting your education. If you have a GPA that's solid, including that. Highlighting past experience that you had, again, talking through the impact as it relates to each of those experiences. And then again, leadership, any leadership opportunities that you have. Okay, so with that, I know we have about 8 minutes left, and I want to give time for folks to ask questions. it could really be about anything, you know, my experience at Google, my journey to get here, anything. I'm really open, and I'm, you know, here to answer questions that you may have. So I will pause here and I will actually stop presenting as well.
So if you have questions, please unmute yourself and ask away.
Okay, I'll go. Mr. Gurick, my first question is, you mentioned a lot of perks that come with working at Google. So I know you mentioned things like massages on campus and laundry. So are there any other cool perks that come with working at Google?
Yeah, that is a good question, Ben. So yeah, there's a lot. We have corporate shuttle buses that commute people to work, so you don't have to drive. So like, for example, I live in San Francisco. A G bus would pick me up and then take me to work. And so that the same thing for other employees that pick up people from all over. We offer like on-site haircuts, so people can get a haircut at work. There's like laundry room facility, you could do your laundry. There's services that take your dry cleaning for you. There's food, like there's like breakfast, lunch, and dinner provided for you. And really the idea is to create a culture where like people don't want to leave. So I think that also leads to people working a lot more. Certainly, but it also increases collaboration, and like, you know, people just love being there. And so it's like I have like some of my best friends that I've made are through work. And so like you can do so many cool things at work. There's also gyms like and volleyball courts, and like there's so many perks. So I'm sure I'm not even scratching the surface, but in addition to like all the great perks, we of course have really competitive pay and, you know, offer like great benefits in terms of like healthcare and all those things. So yeah, it's great. It's endless perks.
I think I'd work at Google just for the perks.
It's great.
I think we can see why you're not as happy when you're not there, Mitch.
No, but I will say that I'm actually at my parents' house right now in Chicago. So I'm a little bit spoiled right now, but I'm here because I live by myself in San Francisco. So I was like, I need to get out. So it's great having my parents here to take care of me, but yeah, I definitely like being at the office better. So yeah.
So Mitch, you talked about in the interview process showing your Googliness. How do you do that? Because it seems so not technical.
Yeah, it's a great question. And the crazy thing is that Googliness means different things to different people. So like if you ask another employee at Google, what does Googliness mean to you? They would say something completely different from what I said. So that even adds to the complexity of the whole thing. But I would say that it's like, we really want you to be your authentic and true self. Like when you show up for an interview, like just be yourself. Like, I mean, we want to know who you are. Like you're working like 40 plus hours a week. Like we want to see that you're fun, that you're someone that we want to work with, like that would also fit in with the culture. And so I think the easiest way for people to do that is just to be themselves. And like, we really encourage the idea of like bringing your full self to work. And so I would say, you know, that is one. The other one is speaking to like your character. I think like just beyond the accomplishments, beyond the resume, like who are you? Like who are you when no one's watching you? Like who is the person that you are? Are you, you know, going out of your way to do the right thing for people in your day-to-day life? Like who are you deeply as a person, beyond like a piece of paper? Like I think anyone can put whatever they want on a resume, but truly like who they are as a person, being able to demonstrate your character, I think speaks volumes to an interviewer that, you know, you're like a truly great person. and like ethical and moral and does the right thing, and has values that resonate with Google's core values as well, which are publicly available, and you could speak to those core values too. So that's how I would. It is a very loose term, but yeah, and I'm sure if you Google Googliness, I'm sure you get other definitions too. So yeah. Any other questions? I know we have a couple minutes left. And also feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. My name is Mitchell Gurick on LinkedIn. I'm happy if you have questions, if you didn't feel comfortable, ask them live here. If you want to email, send me a message on LinkedIn privately, totally fine. But I would, keep an eye out for our careers page for when our Bold internship applications open. It typically is in the fall, so soon-ish. And some of the other opportunities that I spoke about as well. So I'm happy to answer questions. I know that kind of a public forum like this is people might not be comfortable. So if you want to email me, I'm open to that as well.
Mitch, I want to tell you that from the first time that we met, you were an impressive individual. You have only grown in that way. So I personally want to thank you for doing this today. I know it was something that you did not have to do, but as part of your personality, it's giving back, and I really do appreciate that. I hope all the students here got something out of that. I'm sure they did. And I want to thank the students, too, for attending tonight and participating. Please, if you enjoyed this, share it with your friends. Almost every Wednesday night, we have a different speaker. Hopefully they'll be as good as Mitch. You'll all learn something, and I think there's some real value in this. So if you have any questions or if you want to get in touch with Mitch and you can't remember his name or what he said about it, just let me know and I'll put you in touch with him. So thank you again. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and it made me very, very happy that you showed up tonight and participated. Mitch, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. It was nice to meet you all.
Bye, everyone. Have a
Thank
good
you,
evening.
Mitch, and thank you, Mr. Marr.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome.